Welcome, my friends. My name is Melissa from Melissa's Struggling Walk with Jesus. I'm here using the Amplified Holy Bible and the Navigator's Bible reading plan to share the Word of God with you. I am here to read Numbers chapter 33 to 36 to finish up the book of Numbers tonight. And so, chapter 33 starts out with the review of the journey from Egypt to Jordan, and it says, "These are the stages of the journeys of the Israelites by which they came out of the land of Egypt by their tribal armies under the leadership of Moses and Aaron. Moses recorded their points of departure, as the Lord commanded, stage by stage, and these are their journeys according to their points of departure. They set out from Rameses on the 15th day of the first month. On the day after the Passover, the Israelites moved out triumphantly in the sight of all the Egyptians. While the Egyptians were burying all their firstborn whom the Lord had struck down among them, upon their gods the Lord also executed judgments. Then the Israelites moved out from Rameses, where they had all joined together, and camped in Succoth. They moved out from Succoth and camped in Etham, which is on the edge of the wilderness. They moved out from Etham and turned back to Pi Hahiroth, east of Baal Zephon, and they camped before Migdol. They moved out from before Pi Hahiroth and passed through the midst of the Red Sea into the wilderness. And they went a 3 days' journey in the wilderness of Etham and camped at Marah. They moved out from Marah and came to Elim. In Elim there were 12 springs of water and 70 palm trees, and they camped there. They moved out from Elim and camped by the Red Sea, the Sea of Reeds. They moved out from the Red Sea and camped in the wilderness of Sin. They moved out from the wilderness of Sin and camped at Dophkah. They moved out from Dophkah and camped at Alush. They moved out from Alush and camped at Rephidim. Now it was there that the people had no water to drink. They moved out from Rephidim and camped in the wilderness of Sinai, where they remained for about a year. They moved out from the wilderness of Sinai and camped at Kibrah Hadavah. They moved out from Kibrah Hadavah and camped at Hazareth. They moved out from Hazareth and camped at Rithmah, near Kadesh, the place from which the 12 spies were sent to spy out the land of Canaan. They moved out from Rithmah and camped at Rimmon Perez, and they moved out from Rimmon Perez and camped at Libnah. They moved out from Libnah and camped at Risa, and they moved out from Risa and camped at Keholatha. They moved out from Keholatha and camped at Mount Shepher. They moved out from Mount Shepher and camped at Heradah. They moved out from Heradah and camped at Makaloth, and they moved out from Makaloth and camped at Tehath. They moved out from Tehath and camped at Terah. They moved out from Terah and camped at Mithkah. They moved out from Mithkah and camped at Hashmonah. They moved out from Hashmonah and camped at Mazeroth. They moved out from Mazeroth and camped at Ben Jakin. They moved out from Ben Jakin and camped at Hor Haggidgad. They moved out from Hor Haggidgad and camped at Jotbatha. They moved out from Jotbatha and camped at Abrona. They moved out from Abrona and camped at Ezrion Geber, or Eloth on the Gulf of Aqaba. They moved out from Ezrion Geber and camped in the wilderness of Zin, which is Kadesh. And they moved out from Kadesh and camped at Mount Hor on the edge of the land of Edom. Aaron the priest went up on Mount Hor at the command of the Lord and died there in the 40th year after the Israelites came out of the land of Egypt on the first day of the first month. Check out Numbers chapter 20, verses 23 to 29. Verse 39. Aaron was 123 years old when he died on Mount Hor. The Canaanite king of Arad, who lived in the Negev, the south country, and the land of Canaan, heard what the sons of Israel were coming. They moved out from Mount Tor and camped at Zalmanah. Then they moved out from Zalmanah and camped at Punon. They moved out from Punon and camped at Oboth. They moved out from Oboth and camped at Li-Abarim in the border of Moab. They moved out from Ayim, Li-Harim, and camped at Dibon Gad. They moved out from Dibon Gad and camped at Almon Diblathaim. I am horrible with these kind of words. They moved out from Almon Diblathaim and camped in the mountains of Abarim before Mount Nebo. They moved out from the mountains of Abarim and camped in the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho, their last stop on the journey to Canaan. They camped by the Jordan from Beth Jeshimoth as far as Abel Shittim in the plains of Moab. All right, so starting with chapter 33, verse 50, the title goes into the law of possessing land, and it says, Then the Lord spoke to Moses in the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho, saying, Say to the children of Israel, when you cross the Jordan into the land of Canaan, then you shall drive out all the inhabitants of the land before you and destroy all their sculpted images, and destroy all their cast idols, and completely eliminate all their idolatrous high places. And you shall take possession of the land and live in it, for I have given the land to you to possess. You shall inherit the land by lot according to your families. To the large tribe you shall give a larger inheritance, and to the small tribe you shall give a smaller inheritance. Wherever the lot falls to any man, that shall be the location of his inheritance. According to the tribes of your father's ancestors, you shall inherit. But if you do not drive out the inhabitants of the land from before you, then those you let remain of them will be like pricks in your eyes and like thorns in your sides, and they will attack you in the land in which you live. And as I, the Lord, plan to do to them, so I will do to you. That is all of chapter 33. There is nothing extra to share, so we are going to move on with chapter 34. The title is Instruction for Apportioning Canaan. And it says, Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Command the Israelites, when you enter the land of Canaan, this is the land that shall be yours as an inheritance, the land of Canaan according to its boundaries. Your southern region shall be from the wilderness of Zin along the side of Edom, and your southern boundary from the end of the Salt, the Dead Sea, eastward. Your boundary shall turn from the south to the ascent of Akrabim, and continue on to Zin, and its limit shall be south of Kadesh Barnea. Then it shall go on to Hazar Adar, and pass on to Asmon. Then the boundary shall turn from Asmon to the brook of Egypt, Wadi El Arish, and its limit shall be at the Mediterranean Sea. As the western boundary you shall have the great Mediterranean Sea and its coastline. This shall be your western boundary. And this shall be your north border. From the great Mediterranean Sea mark out your boundary line to Mount Tor. From Mount Tor you shall mark out your boundary to the entrance of Hamath, and the limit of the border shall be at Zedad. Then the northern boundary shall go on to Zephron, and its limit shall be at Hazar Enan, and this shall be your northern boundary. You shall mark out your eastern boundary from Hazar Enan to Shepham. The eastern boundary shall go down from Shepham to Riblah on the east side of Ain, and shall descend and reach to the slope on the east of the Sea of Chinnereth, the Sea of Galilee. And the eastern boundary shall go down to the Jordan River, and its limit shall be at the Salt, the Dead Sea, and this shall be your land according to its boundaries all around. So Moses commanded the Israelites, saying, This is the land you are to inherit by lot, which the Lord has commanded to be given to the 9 tribes and the half-tribe of Manasseh. For the tribe of the sons of Reuben and the tribe of the sons of Gad have received their inheritance by their fathers' households, and the half-tribe of Manasseh have received their possession. The 2.5 tribes have received their inheritance across the Jordan River opposite Jericho, eastward toward the sunrise. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, These are the names of the men who shall divide the land among you as an inheritance, Eleazar the priest, and Joshua the son of Nun. You shall take one leader from every tribe to divide the land for the inheritance. These are the names of the men from the tribe of Judah, Caleb the son of Jephunneh. From the tribe of the sons of Simon, Samuel the son of Ammihud. From the tribe of Benjamin, Eladad the sons of Chishlon. From the tribe of the sons of Dan, a leader, Bukai the son of Joglai. Of the sons of Joseph, from the tribe of the sons of Manasseh, a leader, Haniel the son of Ephod. From the tribe of the sons of Ephraim, a leader, Kemuel the son of Shiphthan. From the tribe of the sons of Zebulun, a leader, Elizaphan the son of Parnach. From the tribe of the sons of Issachar, a leader, Paltiel the son of Azan. From the tribe of the sons of Asher, a leader, Ahihud the son of Shelomai. From the tribes of the sons of Naphtali, a leader, Pedahel the son of Ammihud. These are the 12 men whom the Lord commanded to work with Joshua and Eleazar to divide the inheritance to the sons of Israel in the land of Canaan. All right, so verse 7 says, And this shall be your north border from the great Mediterranean Sea. Mark out your boundary line to Mount Tor, where it says Mount Tor. This is not the Mount Tor of chapter 33, verses 38 through 39, a place where Aaron died. This Mount Tor is in the area of Upper Galilee. All right, verse 11 says, The eastern boundary shall go down from Shephem to Riblah on the east side of Ain, and shall descend and reach to the slope on the east of the Sea of Chinnereth, which is the Sea of Galilee, where it says slope. For other literature has shoulder. And that is all the extra. All right, chapter 35 starts out with the cities for the Levites. And it says, Then the Lord spoke to Moses in the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho, saying, Command the Israelites to give the Levites cities to live in from the inheritance of their possession, and you shall give to the Levites pasture lands around the cities. The cities shall be theirs to live in, and their pasture lands shall be for their cattle and for their herds and for all their livestock. The pasture lands around the cities which you shall give to the Levites shall reach from the wall of the city and outward 1,000 cubits, or 1,500 feet around. You shall also measure outside the city on the east, south, west, and north sides 2,000 cubits, or 3,000 feet, with the city in the center, and this shall belong to the Levites as pasture lands for the cities. All right, starting with Numbers chapter 35, verse 6 is cities of refuge. And it says, Among the cities which you give to the Levites shall be the 6 cities of refuge, which you shall provide for the one who commits manslaughter to flee to. And in addition to them you shall give 42 cities to the Levites. So you shall give to the Levites 48 cities in all, together with their pasture lands. As for the cities which you shall give from the possession of the Israelites, from the larger tribe you shall take many, and from the smaller tribes few. Each tribe shall give at least some of its cities to the Levites in proportion to the size of its inheritance which it possesses. Then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Tell the Israelites, when you cross the Jordan River into the land of Canaan, then you shall select for yourselves cities to be cities of refuge, so that the one who kills any person unintentionally may escape there. The city shall be to you as a refuge from the avenger, so that the one who has caused the death of another will not be killed until he has had a fair trial before the congregation. The cities which you are to provide shall be your 6 cities of refuge. You shall provide 3 cities on this east side of the Jordan River, and 3 more cities in the land of Canaan, and they are to be the cities of refuge. These 6 cities shall be a refuge for the Israelites and for the stranger and the resident alien among them, so that anyone who kills a person unintentionally may escape there. But if he struck his victim down intentionally with an iron object so that he died, he is a murderer, and the murderer shall certainly be put to death. If he struck his victim down intentionally with a stone in hand, which may cause a person to die, and he died, he is a murderer, and the murderer shall certainly be put to death. Or if he struck his victim down intentionally with a wooden object in hand, which may cause a person to die, and he died, he is a murderer, and the murderer shall certainly be put to death. The blood avenger shall himself put the murderer to death, and he shall put him to death when he meets him. But if he pushed his victim out of hatred, or threw something at him with malicious intent, and he died, or if in enmity he struck the victim down with his hand, and the victim died, the one that struck the victim shall certainly be put to death. He is a murderer. The blood avenger shall put the murderer to death when he meets him. But if he pushed the victim suddenly, not in enmity, or threw anything at him without malicious intent, or without seeing him hit him accidentally with a stone object that could kill him, and he died, and the offender was not his enemy, nor intending to harm him, then the congregation shall judge between the offender and the blood avenger according to these ordinances. The congregation shall rescue the offender from the hand of the blood avenger, and return him to his city of refuge, the place to which he had escaped, and he shall live there until the death of the high priest who has anointed with the sacred oil. But if at any time the one guilty of manslaughter comes outside the border of his city of refuge to which he fled, and the blood avenger finds him outside the border of his city of refuge, and kills the offender, the blood avenger will not be guilty of murder, because the offender should have remained in his city of refuge until the death of the high priest. But after the high priest's death, the offender shall return to the land of his possession. These things shall be a statute for you throughout your generations, wherever you may be. If anyone kills a person intentionally, the murderer shall be put to death on the testimony of 2 or more witnesses, but no one shall be put to death on the testimony of only one witness. Moreover, you shall not accept a ransom in exchange for the life of a murderer guilty and sentenced to death, but he shall certainly be put to death. You shall not accept a ransom for him who has escaped to his city of refuge, so that he may return to live in his own land before the death of the high priest. So you shall not pollute and defile the land in which you live, for the shedding of innocent blood pollutes and defiles the land. No atonement, expiation, can be made for the land for the innocent blood shed in it, except by the blood, the execution of him who shed it. You shall not defile the land in which you live, in the midst of which I live, for I, the Lord, live among the people of Israel. That is all of chapter 35. All right, verse 16 says, But if he struck his victim down intentionally with an iron object so that he died, he is a murderer, and the murderer shall certainly be put to death. Where it says his victim, other literatures has the word him, and so throughout this chapter. All right, so start with Numbers chapter 36. The title is Inheritance by Marriage, and it says, The leaders of the fathers' households of the family of the sons of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, of the families of the sons of Joseph, approached and spoke before Moses and before the leaders, the heads of the fathers' households of the Israelites, and they said, The Lord commanded my lord Moses to give the land by lot to the sons of Israel as an inheritance. And my Lord was commanded by the Lord to give the inheritance of Zelophehad our brother to his daughters. But if the daughters marry any of the men from any of the other tribes of Israel, then their inheritance will be taken away from that of our fathers, the tribal ancestors, and will be added to the inheritance of the tribe to which they belong. So it will be taken away from our allotted inheritance. When the year of Jubilee of the Israelites comes, then their inheritance will be added permanently to that of the tribe in which they belong, So their inheritance will be taken away from that of the tribe of our fathers, the tribal ancestors. Then Moses commanded the Israelites in accordance with the word of the Lord, saying, "The statement of the tribe of the sons of Joseph is correct. This is what the Lord commands regarding the daughters of Zelophehad. Let them marry whom they wish, only that they must marry within the families of the tribe of their father. So no inheritance of the Israelites shall be transferred from tribe to tribe, for every one of the Israelites shall hold to the inheritance of the tribe of his father's tribal ancestors. Every daughter who possesses an inheritance of land in any one of the tribes of the Israelites shall marry only a man whose family is of her father's tribe, so that the Israelites may each possess the inheritance of his father's tribal ancestors. So no inheritance shall be transferred from one tribe to another, but each of the tribes of the Israelites shall hold to its own inheritance." The daughters of Zelophehad did as the Lord commanded Moses. For Mahlah, Tirzah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Noah, the daughters of Zelophehad, were married to sons of their father's brothers. They married into the families of the descendants of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, and their inheritance remained in the tribe of the family of their father. These are the commandments and the ordinances and judgments which the Lord commanded through Moses to the sons of Israel in the plains of Moab by the Jordan across from Jericho. All right, my friends, that is all of the book of Numbers. Tomorrow we will start, or the next time I read and everything, when we get to part D, I will be reading out of the 5th book of Moses, called Deuteronomy. Excuse me. And so I want to thank you today for listening to me. I pray that God is with you and that you got something out of the book of Numbers. The Old Testament was really hard and everything, but our lives are hard today. So I want to thank you, and I praise God's wonderful and glorious name for you. And I will keep each of you in my prayers. Amen.